Let's congratulate and welcome Laura Morby. Yay!
Woohoo! Thank you so much, Elena, and thanks for being here. And I am actually so excited because I usually train people that are new to real estate, and being in a room of other realtors is huge for me. I'm so happy. This is going to be, I could teach you guys so much more just because you have a basic understanding of real estate, and when most people that I teach have none. So this is great. So the first thing that I wanted to just quickly share about myself is I started my career when I got my license. I actually joined Realty Executives, and I was assigned a mentor, and I was 22 years old. And my mentor didn't help me at all. In fact, the only thing that she really told me was that she would never buy a house for me because I was too young and she wouldn't trust me. And so that kind of started me off with, thinking that if she won't buy a house for me, why would anyone else want to buy a house for me? And it kind of started me off in a weird path that ended up being something really beautiful, because from her, there was another really wonderful person inside of our office at Realty Executives, and he was a huge home flipper. And so he said, hey, I can see that you're kind of struggling. Why don't you come and work with me? And you can I was his runner. So what does that mean? I took on and off lock boxes, took pictures of properties, went to the trustee sale with him. So the foreclosure auctions. Here in Arizona, we don't have mortgages. We have deeds of trust. So our foreclosure sales are called trustee sales. But I started off doing that, and then I also evicted people for him, which is really funny because I'm just this 22-year-old girl, running all around town and evicting people. And if anybody remembers what was going on at that time, a lot of people were getting foreclosed on. It was highly emotional. Here in Phoenix, people were getting shot at. And so I was going to houses. So I had a whole thing where I would drive up to somebody's house and I would park a street over. I would walk up to their house because I physically had to hand them the paper. I had to get them to sign. So I'd bring 2 copies, have them sign mine, and then give them theirs, and I would run because I was so afraid that someone was going to get really angry that they were losing their home. And obviously the person I worked for had bought it, and I was afraid I was going to be in a bad situation. So from the beginning, I worked with investors, and throughout my career, I've done multiple different things. I worked for a foreclosure sale bidding company. I did short sales here in Arizona. I've been a part of almost 500. And I have worked for home flippers. I worked for the main acquisition company here in Phoenix for Invitation Homes. And so I am really lucky, and now we're investors ourselves. We flip our own houses, we do wholesale deals, we do all sorts of stuff. So I have a little bit of a different skill set, but I have to say, and this is going to sound crazy to some of you, because I think that there's a little bit of a gap between being a realtor and watching other investors. And we're kind of almost, and I might be misspeaking just based on my market, but here in Phoenix, it's almost like we look at investors, we look down on them. So if you take your buyer to go look at a fix and flip property, you might look at the fix and flip and, you have a certain feeling about home flippers. Oh, this is, just lipstick on a pig. This is probably a bad house. They probably did a bad job. Or you look at a wholesaler who's offering cash to a seller, a cash offer to a seller, and thinking, you're taking listings from me. You're taking advantage of these people. These people should list their house. Why are they trading their equity to you when they could hire me and I could get them top dollar? So there's a little bit of a disconnect where it's almost like we don't like each other. And I think that is one of the biggest things that we as realtors are ignoring, because this is a massive money-making thing for you and your business. And so let me explain that. So with us, in order for us to get a sale, we have to prospect. And how do you prospect? We all do different things. Some of us might do direct mail. Some of us might hold open houses. Some of us might buy leads from Zillow. We might have an awesome sphere. but we're all constantly prospecting because, as they say, you're only as good as your last sale. And that sucks. But to get a retail buyer or seller, you have to prospect. And so all of us, I think if we're honest with ourselves, and maybe some of you are past this point, but you will prospect, and then you'll get a handful of people, 5 to 8 people that want to buy or sell with you. And then we'll actually start doing our job, which is being a realtor. So we're driving people around, we're putting in offers, we're listing their house. We're doing these activities that are more traditional realtor activities. And then what do? We stop prospecting. And then so we do these weird things of feast and famine constantly, where we're prospecting and starving and we're buying ourselves McDonald's, or we're taking private Pilates lessons because we've, made a ton of commissions because we are actually closing sales. And so that's a hard thing to master for us, is to constantly be prospecting. So on average, people will buy or sell, retail people, every 3 to 5 years here in Phoenix. Every state's different. We have a pretty high turnaround here. But the number one thing that people don't remember about their realtor is their name. So if someone can't even remember your name in 3 to 5 years, how are they going to rehire you to come and help them again? Help them sell their house that you sold them, list it and sell it, and help them purchase a new one. So what do? We do all of these closing gifts that are personalized with our names and our companies and our phone numbers. And we hope we put it on something that they touch every day. So we buy a cutting board, we buy knives, we buy something that they're going to physically touch every day. And we hope that they remember. And then what else do? We spend time and money anniversary marketing. So, congratulations, it's been a year since you sold your house. I'm going to send someone out to your house to sharpen those knives that I bought you. It's been a year. Do you want to know how much your house is worth? And so you're trying to stay top of mind constantly. And then the other thing that we're always doing is asking for referrals. And how many of us could just spout this off? It comes out so easily because we say it so often. The highest compliment that you can pay me is a referral. Do you have any friends or family who are looking to buy or sell a home? We do it all the time. But there's so little of us that are actually successful. So I heard another stat the other day that I almost wanted to throw up about, but my husband and I own a title company here in Phoenix, and they said to get in the top 10% of real estate agents here in Phoenix, you have to sell, brace yourself, 3 homes a year. So that means the majority of us who are licensed out here aren't making any money. And so why I'm telling you all of this is I hope this is stressing everyone out a little bit, because I want to ultimately lead to my point, which is, if you're going to ignore investors as a source of revenue, as a source of listings, as a buyer to buy houses from you, you're missing a huge portion of your income. There were many years, all I've wanted in my life, and he can attest to this, is I wanted to be a successful realtor. I wanted my sign in people's yards. I wanted to rank. I wanted this so bad. And I worked my guts out. I worked 16-hour days. I had no air conditioning in my car here in Phoenix for 2 years. I did everything you could think of. All I did was work for other investors to help them build their kingdoms. Meanwhile, I'm trying to be a successful retail real estate agent. And he and we've been together this whole time. We actually met while I was in real estate school. He's had these conversations with me a couple of times where he's like, you know what? At this point, you're paying to be in this business, because we all still have to pay our state, local, national dues, pay for MLS, pay for our key, our cell phone, all the miles and wear and tear we're putting on our vehicles. And he goes, you know what? Maybe this just isn't for you. At some point, it was almost like, hey, you need to get it together and you need to start making money, or you got to do something else, because this isn't working. And that, nothing hurt my feelings more than anything he's ever said to me. But he was right, because he had spent years, essentially like a couple of times he's like, I'm pretty much paying for you to be in the business. Like I'm helping you out every month. You know, there's a stupid Kanye West lyric that's like, I don't even know why I'm saying this, but every time I hear this song, I think of myself. But she's in school to be a real estate agent. Last month, I helped her out with her car payment. That was me. Like someone who constantly needed help each month because I just wasn't making enough money being a realtor. Through that, we started purchasing a lot more of our own properties. And originally, we were just like, oh, let's just fix and flip all of these. So through that, I started helping him out. And I was listing his fix and flips when he was ready and I was using my license. And what to me was that? That was such a wonderful blessing because I was able to get my sign in the yard finally. I finally am a listing agent. I finally have listings. This is so cool because when you have listings, what you do with that, sky's the limit. If you want to send out just listed postcards to that zip code, if you want to send out just listed postcards to just the neighborhood, you know, budget concerns, if you want to hold your own listing open as much as you can, go for it. If you want to, you know, put your sign in the yard and take your sign calls, and every person who calls and says, hey, how many bedrooms is this? And you're like, oh, it's a 4-bedroom. And they say, I want a 5. And you want to capitalize on that and say, well, guess what? I have a great 5-bedroom. I'd love to show it to you. When are you free? You know, you can take a listing and turn it into 5 more sales. So here I am. I've got some listings from my wonderful husband, and I was so happy. And then guess what that turned into? He doesn't just fix and flip one a year. He fix and flips one every couple of weeks. So we, depending on the investor that you work for, small side, you're going to get 1 or 2 sales from them a year. More commonly, you're going to get 1 or 2 sales from them a month. So if you, I'm sure we've all done this as a realtor, and if you haven't, I highly recommend it. What you need to do is you need to figure out how much money you need to make to live. And then you need to break it down and decide, in order to bring that in, how many houses do I need to sell a month? And then when you know that, you know, of course, price point is going to vary on your commission, but you should have a goal of what you need to sell each month in order to make the amount of money that you need, less your expenses and less taxes. Taxes is a whole other thing. If you're prospecting for every single one of those sales, you're running up a hill. Like it's so hard. It's so hard. Everything that I spent 15 minutes in the beginning of this explaining to you, and which I hope makes you nervous, that's what you have to do for every single one of those people. Will every single one of those people turn into a repeat customer? Probably not, because they're going to forget your name. Are they going to give you a referral? Probably not, because guess what? There's so many licensed realtors. The odds that, you know, they don't have an aunt who's licensed part-time who's going to help them out is pretty minimal. It's just like, it's so hard, even when you're a badass and you do a great job and you're a fantastic negotiator. When it comes down to someone hiring you as their realtor, as a referral, even though you have social proof and they have a friend or family member who's used you, the odds that they have someone else that they know that's a realtor is super high. So think about working with investors as a way to supplement your existing business. I'm not saying that all of us need to turn our back on retail. Absolutely not. I love working with first-time home buyers. Like, that has such a place in my heart. I love that. I spent so many years just being a buyer's agent. I love that. I love helping people find Airbnbs for themselves. Like, I love all different types of that. But, and again, I guess that's kind of an investor too, my gosh. But I love working for investors. Okay. So let me make this bigger so everyone can see. So this is my MLS. If you're in Arizona, great. If you're not, you know, sorry. Can everyone see my MLS real quick? Okay. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to your search feature. And this is in Arizona, so this might be a little bit different than yours. So you're going to go to new financing. So this is how it ended up closing. And this is how they did it. They bought it cash. So you're going to do cash, and you're going to want to do closed and probably search in the last like 3 months. There we go. So I can also look and see, okay, do I want people to be in Gilbert? Is that what I want? Do I want to look for cash buyers in Gilbert? Or do I want like a specific zip code? So there we go. We've got 341 cash deals that closed in Gilbert. And then I'll look at this, and if your MLS doesn't have link into tax records, that's totally fine. So these people, they bought it in their personal name, so more than likely they are not a cash buyer. Here you go. Here's one. This 11 North Concord Street in Gilbert closed for $235,000, and it closed, let's see, what day did it close? So it closed March 1st, and they did it cash, and it went to 5847 South 16th Street LLC. And then how you find out who owns that LLC is you're going to go to the Arizona Corporation Commission. This is where I am, of course. You go to your state's Corporation Commission, and every state's different. So some of you are non-disclosure states, so it's a little bit harder. But I pull this right up right here. So we've got statutory agents, Jerry Bordelot, and managing member is Michael Papa Mathakis. Probably butchering his name. I'm so sorry. But then I would just skip trace those people, and I would say, okay, hey, I saw that you bought this super cute home in Gilbert. I love it. What's your plans for it? Are you keeping it, like, more than likely, this one says it's move-in ready. I could say, hey, are you going to fix and flip it? Or are you going to hold it as a rental? What are you planning on doing with it? And just open up a conversation with them like that. And then you're able to, move on and say, hey, if I found you something else like this, would you be interested in buying it? And okay, cool. What are you looking for? Are you looking for, just, cute homes in Gilbert? Are you open to the rest of the valley? Like, what are you looking for? Are you just buying, long-term rentals? Are you looking for Airbnbs? Like, are you looking for fix and flips? And then you just get the conversation started that way. So it's pretty easy. But that again is a more cold version of then going to a RIA and meeting these people firsthand, which is really nice. But I would love to show everyone how to underwrite a deal. That will probably take me a little bit longer to explain, so we don't have time today. But that is really key to helping make sure you found a good deal for people, because all the time people bring us deals, and I'm going to use a round number just for the sake of ease of understanding. So I have someone who says, hey, I've got this house and it's awesome. I can get it to you for $100,000. And I think you can sell it for $150,000. And you only have to put 10 grand into it. And I'm like, okay. Of course, when they tell me I have to put 10 grand into it, I probably have to put 20. So I'm looking at that and they're like, well, you're going to make $30,000 still. And it's like, well, no, because I have to pay closing costs to close the home. Then I'm paying property taxes and HOA and utility payments and homeowners insurance. And then I'm paying holding costs. Like, there's a lot more that's involved. I think people think that you take the price that they can sell the house from once it's finished, or the ARV, the after renovation value, minus your repairs, minus your purchase price, like what you're acquiring the property from, and then they think you're making all of that in profit. And that's just not true. Because then you have to go, after you pay all of that, then you have to go pay and sell it on MLS. And as a seller, you're paying both the buyer's agent and the listing agent. Then you have, inspection repairs, and you have title fees, so it's not as, simple as that. So if you understand that as a realtor, just basic knowledge, your investor will love you so much because you actually understand how to find them a good deal.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, Laura, we will definitely have you back. We want to know how you find the deals. We want to see the underwriting, and we want to hear more from you. So I'll get with Robin. If we don't already have somebody for next week, we'll get you next week. And if not, we'll push it out to when you can.
Anytime you want me, I'm here for you guys. And I love when people tag me on Instagram. So if you want to tag me in a story and tell me
So
that you
what's your
like this,
Instagram? Is it
you'll
your
make me feel
name?
special. But my Instagram's just Laura Morby. Laura Morby.
I'll put it in the chat. Okay, make sure
Aw,
you
thanks.
follow Laura,
Oh,
DM her,
thank you.
email her, and then we'll see her next week or the week after here
Whenever.
again. Thank you
Yes.
all so much. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you, Laura, so much.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Okay, good night,
Thank you,
everybody.
thank you. Good night, everybody.
Bye.